Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony. This is another episode of the world famous, the University Love, the best podcast in one, two, three galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves. And we are coming to you live today. Today is Friday, October the 20th, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to you live today from Kentucky. We are in the greatest state in the union. I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. We all know the greatest state in the United States is Missouri, of course. Maybe I'm a little biased, but it's Missouri than everything else, okay? So, for anybody that's not from the United States, man, forget New York, forget LA. Those are cesspools, okay? Move to the Midwest, okay? When you catch a plane, if you're from Denmark, you're from Australia, you're from London, you're from South Africa, you're from Egypt, wherever you're from, whatever neck of the woods you're from, whatever country you're from, you're flying to the United States of America, man, bypass New York, bypass LA. Hey, listen, it's nothing to see, okay? I will say this. I will say this. When I was a young man, and when I went to the Navy, and I got to go to San Diego. I always wanted to go to California when I was a kid. I remember I saw the palm trees. I saw Beverly Hills Cop. I remember I was like, man, it looks like real nice weather out there. I would love to go see California. And I remember I went, and I grew up in a small town, 3,000 people. So, everything is like, whoa. And I remember I had came from cold Chicago. Chicago, it was very cold. It was like -10 when I was there. One day it was like -20. The wind chill was like -40, I remember. I spent like 3 months in Chicago. Not pleasant at all. I mean, Chicago is a nice place. It's a nice town. But it's a great place to go in the summertime, ladies and gentlemen. But in the wintertime, if you're not used to the cold weather, do not go to Chicago. But when I was in the Navy and they flew me out to LA. I mean, not LA, but they flew me out. I went to San Diego. I remember I got off the plane. The first thing I saw was palm trees and the weather was warm. And I thought, man, did I die and go to heaven? Because it is amazing. But then then I was in San Diego. San Diego is a very lovely city. If you do want to go to California, go to San Diego. I recommend anybody that I ever talk to, I want to go to California. I always say, go to San Diego. It's a very nice place. It's a very lovely place. I enjoyed my time out there very much. And I remember when I went to LA, I went with a friend. He drove us up, First thing, boom, we sitting in traffic. We sat in traffic for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, something like that. It was one of the worst. I'm not joking. It was one of the worst times. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This is LA? This is what everybody talks about? Just sitting in traffic. Everything was traffic. This is packed. That was packed. Everything was packed. It was just... And I'm looking around and I'm like, besides the palm trees in LA, it was nice enough, but eh, it was sort of a letdown. But when you're young, you have these I don't know what I was expecting, but California has nice weather. Don't get me wrong. San Francisco is a beautiful place. San Diego is a beautiful place. LA is okay, if that's your thing. But yeah. Then I went to New York once. I went to New York for work. The first time I ever went to New York was for work. So I'm not going to give it a bad grade then. But then my lovely wife Me and her, we went to a wedding. We went to her friend's Allie's wedding in the Bronx. So we drove. First, I remember like it was yesterday because my lovely nephew, he was 2 or 3 weeks old. We stopped in and saw him in New Jersey. Saw my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law. We saw my nephew in New Jersey. I remember we spent a lot of time with him. It was very nice. I remember we drove from New Jersey up to New York. My wife was driving too. My wife wanted to drive for some reason. She normally doesn't drive during trips, but this time she wanted to drive. We're driving through all these tolls. You gotta take these tolls when you're in New York. It's very annoying. So we crossed the George Washington Bridge. That was like $20, $15, $20. Paying money for tolls is one of the biggest ripoffs that can happen to you. Okay? Trust and believe you me. But we crossed into the George Washington Bridge. And I remember we was driving. We was going to the Bronx. And I remember we was going through all these we was going through these places. And I was like, are we in the alley? But it was a street. There's so many cars in New York, like on the sides of the streets. It's bananas, you know. And New York is a nice place, don't get me wrong. But for my cup of tea, I like space. I like to be, you know, I grew up in the country, you know, kind of, you know, a small town. So we have plenty of space. You know, you're not stepping on your neighbor. You know, you and your neighbor, you can see each other, but you don't have to, you know, be breathing on top of each other. You know, and one thing about these big cities, you know, you sort of gotta. It's more, you know, a little more congested. And I moved to Atlanta. I know I'm giving you the whole history, but I moved to Atlanta, and I was like, I moved to Atlanta. I only moved to Atlanta for work. It wasn't like, ooh, I want to move to Atlanta and change everything, you know. Now, I didn't know that I was going to meet my wife and, you know, get married in Atlanta, have a baby, a whole baby, not a half a baby, a whole baby in Atlanta. But it all worked out. Me moving to Atlanta, it was a beautiful thing. It worked out because I met my beautiful wife, you know, and I have this great, you know, I have a great wife, great new family. I love them all, you know. And so Atlanta worked out. But even Atlanta, I'm like, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, my wife, she loves it. So that's why we don't move. If it was up to me, man, I'd be off in some town of like 15,000 people. 15,000 people. I would, you know, I would live in, you know, small town USA. But my wife, she likes the city, you know. So what can you do? You know what I mean? But yeah, if you ever crisscross around the United States, you'll see what I'm talking about. Some places are very nice. Some places they're okay. You know. Go to Texas. You got to go to Texas. Texas is the state overall. I don't like Dallas too much. I mean, I think Houston's cool. I like San Antonio. You go down to Laredo. That's cool. Not many people traveling go to Laredo though, but truck driving wise, you can go to Laredo. It's a nice place, but Texas is a nice place to drive through. Amarillo's nice. Amarillo's nice place. Kind of smells like a lot of manure out there at Amarillo. I think because they do a lot of cattle, so you know you gotta be careful about that. Don't roll the window down. If you ever drive through Amarillo on your way to California or something, and somebody doesn't know much about Amarillo, just roll the window down when you get outside of Amarillo, and then the smell will hit them. They won't know what happened. Okay, that's just a little tip from me to you. But anyway, we don't win about 10 minutes talking about places to travel. Okay, and so that's that. But now we are going to talk about something very, very important, more important than traveling. Well, if you want to do more traveling, you'll listen to what I have to tell you, okay? And today I just wanted to talk about, I wanted to discuss, you know, I know a lot has been said about things being on autopilot. You know, I know like, you want to try to make money while you sleep. It's very important, don't get me wrong. You want to start trying to generate some money that way, but the one thing that you have to be wary about is when somebody tells you that you can make money automatically on autopilot. It doesn't quite work that way. You have to put in some work when it comes to doing when it comes to the internet, when it comes to creating websites, building websites, when it comes to creating content, when it comes to selling on the internet. Yes, eventually you can set things up to where the thing is on autopilot, but you still have to do the work. You have to build the foundation. It don't just automatically. And a lot of people have fallen into this trap. A lot of people have fallen into the world of automation. Automation is great. Automation is cool. You want to get it. You want to listen. You want to get. You build a website for a reason. You know how you build a website and you create content. So that way, when you are sleeping, people can find you. People can buy from you. But in order to have that going, you want to set it up on your own. You want to make sure that everything is in place. You don't want to, take a class from somebody who's like, oh, you will make money automatically. You're gonna make $1,000, $2,000. It's not gonna happen. Do not fall for those people that say how much money you can make $1,000 a day doing this. You can make $1,000 a day doing that. Do not go for that stuff. Figure out if you want to sell gloves online. Sell gloves online. Set yourself up. Build a website. Find somebody. And if you want to pay somebody or you want to build it yourself, find somebody. Go to Shopify. Go somewhere. You have to put in some work. It's gonna take some work. You got to put in some. You gotta have to put in some man hours. You don't have to work. You don't have to work 24/7. Contrary to popular belief, and this is something that I had to get out of my mind. Is when I was younger, people always said, if you work hard, you can get what you want. If you can work hard, don't get me wrong. Working hard is great. Working hard is fine. But when you become an adult, when you become a real adult, and you finally realize that the people that work the hardest, I'm saying that you want to build something. You want to work hard, yeah, but you want to build something for yourself, Working hard at a job is not going to get you the financial money that you want. It definitely is not going to get you the time freedom that you want, okay? So you have to use your brain. You have to be creative. And you have to start thinking about, what can I do to generate money, to generate leads on autopilot? You have to put in the work first. I remember I had built a website a couple years ago. I had a website, and I wrote these articles for like 2 months. For 2 months, I wrote articles. Article. 2 months worth of work. I had the website up for like a year. I was able to generate leads. I was able to make some sales, make some money. After the 2 months, I wrote an article. I wrote an article like every day. I had like 50, 60 articles. Wrote them, posted them. Set things up. I had to put in the work. It wasn't just, man, let me just roll out the red carpet and then people are going to come, boom, automatically. Nope, doesn't quite work that way. But what you can do is, before you get to the autopilot, set yourself up. Create something that's like, hone your skills is what I'm saying. Hone your skills, hone your craft. It's like I heard Dan Kennedy say, he does this script over and over and over. Let's say if you want to start a webinar. It's something good to have. A webinar, because people can always find that webinar. They can click on it, and you can have it running like every 6 hours or something like that. Every 3 hours, every 4 hours. However long you have to do it, Do it live one time, but before you do it live, like practice it for a few days, practice it for a week, practice it for a month, just go live for a few minutes and say, hey, I want to, do this, do that. Put in the work, put in the effort to create the autopilot. The autopilot just doesn't automatically happen. I remember when I first started trying to do affiliate marketing, one of the things that I had to learn was these people would tell you, I'll make $1,000 a day. No, these people make $1,000 a day because they have built a YouTube channel. They have built their email list. They can email their list, and they can get people to create sales, and then they make the $2,000. You're not gonna automatically make that money because you have no email list, you have no YouTube channel, you have no nothing. If you don't have a platform to go on and promote, you can't make the money. This is what people don't tell you. So in order for you to, because they're like, oh man, I made $2,000 and I didn't have to do anything. Well, all you have to do is you build an email list, and you can write emails. If you spend, let's say it takes me now like 10 minutes to write an email. If you spend 3 or 4 hours write emails for a week, you have emails for a whole week, and then you could just send them. You can tell people, click on the link, the auto respond. Hey, click on this link. You build the foundation, and then you think about the autopilot. The autopilot doesn't come before the work. You know what I mean? And you're not doing construction. You're not building houses. You're not building towers. You don't have to. You're not a mechanic. It's online stuff. But we talked about it before. You want to not just think about online. You want to think about, hey, I want to do things. I want to make sure that you are getting the let's say you have an email list, and you really want to start making some money. You really want to start putting things on autopilot. Send if you have a product, you have something you want to sell to people, send them postcards through the mail. Send them stuff through the mail, text message, email. Do every form you can, so that way you can create more revenue. And the more revenue you create, the more you can put back into your business, and the more that you can actually create autopilot programs for you. So that way, eventually it'll be, hey, this product is selling itself. You know what I mean? Like, you want to build the car before you drive. You know what I mean? A lot of people try to tell you, hey man, you can drive the car, and it's like, what car? What car am I driving? I haven't built anything yet. So before you get started on the automation, before you get started on the autopilot, build up something first, and then the autopilot will come. Once you build a website, once you create, hey, the YouTube channel, once you create the podcast, people can go back. As I told you before, I do these episodes. We have a lot of episodes, so every now and then it'll be a surplus. And I'm like, what episode are people listening to? And they go back and they listen to old episodes, because this machine is built. This machine is. I can go back, and if there's something if something happens to my recording, one day, I can say, okay, let me go back and episode, and let me bring that back. It's autopilot. I have enough episodes that I can go back and go back and go back. And you want to build that kind of stuff, and then say, hey, now I can start looking to the autopilot. I can start looking to the automation. Automation is cool. Automation is great. That's one thing that when people talk about the 4-hour work week, they always like, oh man, I can work 4 hours a week and make a bunch of money. No, the guy said, he talks about having systems in place, having things that are automatic, so that way you can set it and forget it, but you have to build the base before you can set it and forget it. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We will be back tomorrow with an all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rosano. Thank you for listening. God bless. Go back, listen to all the episodes before. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We're almost at the 700 episode mark. I got to go back and renumber all these episodes. There are a lot of episodes. Once you go back, listen to them. My wife told me that I need to start having guests, so we definitely will start getting that going, because we got to elevate. I got to get out of this here truck. We got to elevate this show. We got to elevate each other. and really hunker down because I believe in this show. You believe in this show. You listen to it. This show is great. We got to make it even better. Having guests you can learn from will make things better for you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, go back, listen to the early episodes. If you know somebody that you think would be a great guest on the show, hit me up, Tony@TonyRosano.com. It's the email address. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We will see you tomorrow. And as always, everybody, peace.